Hello, everybody. I guess I'll just start reading this book for you guys. This is the church readings for the day, June 12th. So we're going to start here with Holy Father Anuphrius the Great. This is called, what are we writing? Prologue on the Awkward. And this is by a bishop and Nicholai, Velimerovich. So, okay. Holy Father Anuphrius the Great. This holy ascetic had been living a whole 60 years in the desert when the monk Paphnutius visited him. His hair and beard reached down to the ground, and long hair as white as snow had grown all over his body during his years of nakedness. His appearance was cadaverous, unearthly, and awe-inspiring. Seeing Paphnutius, he called him by name and then recounted to him his life in the desert. His guardian angel had appeared to him and taken him to that place. He had a long time to only eat earth, which it was hard to find in the desert, and after that, when he had survived an intensive struggle with diabolical temptation, and when his heart had become utterly established in love for God, an angel had brought him bread to eat. And besides that, through God's gracious providence, a palm tree grew up at one side of his cell that gave good dates, and a spring of water began to flow there. But especially, said Anuphrius, my food and drink are the sweet words of God. To Paphnutius' question about receiving communion, the hermit answered that the angel of God brought him communion every Saturday. On the next day, the old man told Paphnutius that it was the day of his departure from this world. Then he knelt down and prayed to God and gave his spirit into God's hands. Then Paphnutius saw a heavenly light that illumined the body of the departed saint, and heard a choir of the angelic host. He buried Anuphrius' body with honor and returned to his own monastery, there as a living witness to narrate to the brethren, for their edification, the wonderful life of the man of God and the greatness of God's providence towards those who give themselves wholly to his service. Anuphrius died in the year 400. Holy Father Peter the Athonite, he was a Greek by birth and a soldier by profession. Being once engaged in battle against the Arabs, he was captured, chained, and thrown into prison. Peter spent a long time in imprisonment in the town of Samaria on the Euphrates, and prayed to God with all his being to free him and take him to some desert place where he could devote himself to prayerful asceticism. St. Simeon of the host of God appeared to him in prison, together with St. Nicholas, and touched the iron of his chains, which melted like wax. Peter suddenly found himself in the open outside the city. He immediately set out on the road for Rome, where he was tortured as a monk by the Pope at the tomb of St. Peter. He then set out by ship to return to the east. The Most Holy Mother of God appeared to him in a dream, talking with St. Nicholas, and she told St. Nicholas that she had set Mount Athos apart for Peter to live in asceticism. Peter had at that time not heard of Mount Athos, disembarking then at the holy mountain. Peter settled in a cave where he spent 53 years in strict asceticism and struggles with hunger and thirst, with heat and cold, especially with diabolical powers, until he had overcome them all by the help of God. When he had undergone the first temptations and succeeded in the first test before God, an angel of God began to bring him bread every 40 days. The tempter appeared to him several times in the guise of an angel of light, but Peter drove him away with the sign of the cross and by the name of the Most Holy Mother of God. A year before his death, a deer hunter passed that way and learned of the saint's life from his lips. He died in 734, and his relics were taken to Macedonia. 3. Our Holy Father Timothy, an Egyptian hermit. He lived the ascetic life first in Thebaid. He then went off into the desert, where he spent 30 years. Being pleasing to God, he died peacefully. Our Holy Father Bastian and Jonah. Monks of the monastery of Solovets, they were drowned and cast into the shore in 1651. A sign appeared over their grave, and a church was built there. Later, the monastery of Petrominsk was founded on the site. One saw Peter the Great, sheltering from a storm at sea, spent 3 days there and made a cross, which he erected on the shore. For consideration, communion is a great and wonderful mystery. Even solitaries and hermits sought opportunities to receive Holy Communion. Saint Mary of Egypt begged Saint Zosima to bring the holy mysteries to the Jordan and give her communion. Our Holy Father Paphnutius, returning from his visit to Saint Onufrius, found 4 young men living the ascetic life in a very humble community. When Paphnutius asked them if they had any chance of receiving communion, they replied that an angel of God came to them every Saturday and brought them communion. Paphnutius remained until the following Saturday and personally witnessed this. When the Saturday dawned, the whole monastery was filled with an indescribable heavenly fragrance. While they were at prayer, an angel of God in the form of a handsome young man, bright as lightning, appeared with the holy gifts. Paphnutius was terrified and fell to the ground in fear, but they raised him up, and he also received communion at the angel's hands. According to his own testimony, as did many other solitaries and hermits, it is therefore a completely mistaken idea to think that solitaries and hermits did not receive communion. God, who provided for their bodily sustenance, did not leave them without the life-giving food of the body and blood of Christ the Lord. To ponder. Let me ponder on the wonderful multiplying of bread in the wilderness. Matthew 14, verse 15. 1. How the Lord fed 5,000 people with 5 blessed loaves. 2. How he is that living bread which alone can mysteriously feed the many hungry souls which the whole of the rest of the world put together cannot feed. The last section here, y'all. This is the homily. Homily on the palace on the hut. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the hut of the righteous shall flourish. Proverbs 14:11. The court of Herod lies in ruins, but the cave of the child of Bethlehem remains. Caesar's diadems have been lost, but the bones of the martyrs have been preserved. The palaces of pagan kings have been thrown down into heaps of rubble, but the caves of ascetics have grown into beautiful churches. The golden idols are scattered into nothing, but the chains of the Apostle Peter are kept as holy relics. While the humble abode of Christianity, the Holy Church is today the strongest power on earth. Where are the Jews, the murderers of God, scattered over the whole world? Where are the mighty Romans in the grave? Where is the power of bloodthirsty Nero? Where is the strength of wicked Diocletian and base Maximian? Where are the achievements of Julian the Apostate? Where are all his high towers, together with the Tower of Babel, under dust and ashes, put to shame and accursed? Look about your own town and ask yourself, how many of the houses of the ungodly have been excavated? How many simple dwellings of the righteous have grown up into beautiful houses? Heaven and earth, my brethren, are founded on God's unshakable justice, and so all the works of the ungodly are like air bubbles, which are broken and trampled by passers-by. The palaces of the Pharaohs and the Babylonians are like broken bubbles, but the tent of righteous Abraham flourishes and flowers in eternity. O my brethren, how mighty and enduring is justice, and how blustering and ephemeral is injustice, like a storm on a summer's day. O righteous Lord, how magnificent and consistent art thou in the exercise of thy righteousness. To thee be glory and praise forever. Amen. So, I hope y'all enjoyed that reading. I don't know if I'm gonna have the. Oh, but yeah, y'all. Bye bye. Yeah, have a wonderful time. See ya.